collected uh, with respect to our primary data. By primary data, I mean the data that you are collecting for the first time, first-hand data. Mostly we use this software for the analysis of our questionnaire data that we have collected over. The second, there are different types of softwares through which we can analyze our data. Some of them are quantitative related, such as the SPSS, where we would be having a brief overview shortly. And other, there are different types of qualitative related softwares as well, on which we can conduct and analyze the data that we have collected through interviews, through the documents, or even if there is a novel and you have it in soft, you can analyze that, the language used by the different anchors or spokesperson, we can use all of that sort of data in the qualitative softwares. And mainly we use two types of qualitative softwares. One is known as Atlas TI, and the other one is NVivo. But that I don't know whether your instructor has taught you about it or discussed those elements. But for a while, very basically, there are certain sort of data for which we use SPSS. SPSS is the statistical package for social sciences related data. And let me share the screen with you first so that you all can see what this software is. It is already available in the computer lab. You can have it from the softwares that we have in the computer lab. They will even install it for you, or they are in fact already installed in the lab 1, 2, and 3, and so on. So there won't be an issue regarding those this software in particular. Okay, when we say that we are using SPSS, so this is the initial overview. I hope it is visible to everyone. If ma'am can confirm it.
Yes, sir, it's visible to me. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is the very first window that we see. Now, if you see over here, the first window, that is the pop-up window, it asks you for whether you are opening and creating a new database, or you have some already existing database which you are going to open and continue working on. So from the very beginning, because to show you how it works, let me start with the new database because you will be creating it for the first time. Okay, so when we open it, then the first window that we see, let me share it again. This is how it looks. It appears to be like this. Uh, this is same if you have the experience of working with MS Excel, for example, Excel sheet. So if you look at it, there it is more or less the same as it is for the Microsoft Excel. There are two tabs of it. One is known as the data view, which you can see in the bottom left corner of your screen. Whatever data you enter into it, you are going to see it over here. Number one mean respondent one, respondent two, and so on. And then we have the variable view, which is the right next tab. It is now in front of you. Now over here, we have to explain and tell this software what this particular variable of ours is all about. So this is the second element where we need to enter information regarding our variables. Now, whenever we talk about variables are basically those items or elements or tools that we usually see or we try to research and find the information regarding. For example, the very basic type of variables that we have in all the research, the first element is the demographics. Now, what is demographics? Can anyone tell me about it, dear students? Anyone?
Sorry, sir, continue करें.
I am continuing. I asked what is demographics? What do we mean by demographics? If you can tell me an idea. It's okay if you are wrong, doesn't matter.
Sir, I believe it has something to do with like age factors in humans, or like the adults are one demographic, and then the old people are another demographic, and millennials and so on. So
Excellent.
it's kind of a statistical thing.
Thank you very much. Exactly. These are basically the characteristics of your respondents or your sample, the data from whom you are collecting the data. So in the primary data, it is very important for the researcher and even for those people who are reading your research. For them, it is very important to know who is your respondent, who took part in your research, who gave you the input in your research. So for that, we need to understand who they are, and particularly talking about age, there we need to know about their gender, we need to know about their for example education, we may be interested in learning about their marital status, right? We may be interested in getting to know about their income or pocket money, for instance, right? We may be interested in their family size, that how many whether they are living in independent family or they are living in the joint family. So this is all the demographics which tells us about a story about those people who have contributed or responded or took part in the research. Similarly, we may be interested about where they are living, so their residence, right? So for example, we may split the areas. They're living in Hyderabad, they're living in university town, whether they are living in city or Kent area, or from the rural areas or suburban parts of the Peshawar or even the KP. So this is going to help us about getting to know who our respondents are. So this is the very basic information. And if you look at any questionnaire in any field of social sciences or the arts and humanities, we have to get this data, right? And let me now add these variables. Now I can call them variables or the basic information. So how would I just put this data in my SPSS sheet? Okay, so I am now sharing the screen so that you know. Now the first information that I collected was regarding age. So I will simply write age over here in the name. This is the name of the variable, right? The second variable is, now if you see the remaining columns are automatically auto-filled by the software. I will go shortly to them, what does they mean. The second variable that we had was regarding the information regarding the gender, right? The third was the education or qualification. The fourth variable that we added is the marital status. So I'm just writing status over here. Similarly, we used income. We added another regarding the residence. Okay. Now, in the name column, there is a small issue that you need to understand. Residence if I just press space and I write something residence area, it will not accept it, right? So in the name column, we cannot add spaces. But if it is very necessary to use that element, so we can use underscore with it. Residence area. Now, if you see with underscore, it has accepted it. But I do not need, it's just a brief overview of the demographics that we are collecting from here. And now, if you see uh, one, two, three, fourth, and fifth column over here, it is stating label. Now, label, sometimes we have questions in our questionnaire, but we are unable to put all these questions in the name column. So what I can do is I can write that exact question over here in label. For example, maybe you have asked them in the questionnaire that what is your age, right? In second question is about the gender. So what is your gender, right? So I can write, and now you can see that it is accepting in the labels, education, right? Which program or degree program are you studying, right? Status, what is your marital status? So I am just filling it in income, how much is your, or how much uh, pocket money do you get on per month, right? And residence, where do you live? So these are a sort of how I can add questions. Your ma'am instructor is just helping me out with the data. She is preparing some questions, and shortly as she share the questions with me, then I will go and tell you how we can add them over there in SPSS and how to run the analysis. But basically, some sort of information just mentioned over here in the form of these variable. Now, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, these are the 6 entries that we did, the 6 types of data that we are collecting or we have collected. So I will be showing you now the data view where we can simply enter this data. Now, if you see over here, you can see that instead of the VAR, which was previously mentioned over here, now every column has been given a proper name. And if I just scroll my cursor over here, you can see it is now showing me all the information. Okay, Ji. Now coming towards how we can put the data into it. Now, first of all, age. Age is a basic sort of an information. So everyone will be telling you the in numbers. For example, someone is 22 years of age, another is 23, then 22, 25, 24, 25, 26, maybe someone is just 20 years of age, and so on, 27 and 21. So let us say these are the 10 people who responded to our data.
Sir, may I add something here for the help of students?
Please.
Dear students, it's like, for example, in midterm research, Kashif discussed a topic with me, and it was related to how different age groups students or boys or girls are using swear words, whether it is like the age of 30 to 20 years who are using more swear words, or like 10 to 15 years, or 15 to 20 years, or 20 to 25, or 25 to 30, or 30 to 35. Like, which age group are using more swear words than the other? Now, if he has collected questionnaires, he would be needing this data, right? He'd be needing this data for the analysis, because if it is in the demographics, then only through demographics he'll be able to identify. Because if he has not asked them which age group is this person from, then he would not be able to identify whether the person is using, which age group is using more swear words. And then he'll be asking questions within the questionnaire, which later on sir will discuss how we look at the other questions when dealing with such kind of research. So uh, over to give me 5 minutes, okay? Wait a minute.
Okay. Now moving towards the other element. See, age group, as your respective instructor, Ma'am Usma, has just discussed and elaborated. This is very important element, because sometimes in the linguistics related research, it is a fundamental component that we need to address, that how one age group or one strata or one cluster is taking this concept into what perspective. Secondly, we need to understand where are those differences, how one age group or one sort of a people are different from the other one. Similarly, how much the English language, for example, is used by male in the terms of frequency, and how much this language has been used by the females. Gender related analysis we can conduct. In addition to it, if we go towards our third demographic, that is regarding the education, we can even study this thing, that how comfortable the computer science or management sciences students are with the language, English language. How frequently do they use this language in their classroom, in their informal gatherings with their friends, and so on. Similarly, we talked about the status. For example, how males are using this language or the females are using. Similarly, we can also get the information regarding the income, whether English is more common in the people who are having more income. This is also a reflection that they are from the high class society. That is why their pocket money is more, as compared to those who are having a less pocket money. For example, I'm not saying about it because when I was studying in university in my masters, I just had 500 rupees of pocket money, right? Then residents, we can even study this thing, that how much the residents of Hyderabad are frequent with the English language, how much are the people who are living on Charsadda Road or on the Dalazak Road. So this can also tell us about the geographical location and the use of the language that they have. So this sort of information is very important. Okay, now I will move forward with the entries regarding the gender. Now, if you see a gender, there are two genders and one is other, like the transgenders or they are used as other. The third gender, right? He male or she males, right? They are a part of our society, and we have to give them the equal respect and equal chance. If there are anyone and who wants to take part in our research study, they want to contribute study. Even one of my colleague, he is conducting a study on transgender, so his basic theme is related to it, so we cannot ignore them. Now I know that in my questionnaire I have given them the option and they have just mentioned male or female, or I have put the checkbox in my questionnaire where they have marked male or female. So let's see, the first one is male. I just wrote it male, but when I put and press enter, it is disappeared. Female disappeared. It is not showing me the gender values or the male and female that I am writing into it. So this is the second element that you need to understand. That is, SPSS understands numeric values. It does not understand English, Urdu, Pashto. Yes, you can write it down over here, but it will not analyze it as required. So what we have to do is, this is called now coding, right? This is now called a process of coding. Now, what we do in coding is that I will simply go back to the variable view and see right over here, it says numerics, right? What is your gender? And this column, what I'm going to just bring changes into it, state the column of values. So please note it down. And if you do not understand it, I will simply repeat it again. I have to put values. As I stated that it understands only numerical words, numbers, right? Mostly for male, we use a code of 1. For female, we use either 0 or 2. And for others, we use 3, right? So let's see, in the value column, I will just type 1. Now, what does this 1 means? It means male. And I will press add. Now, I will put the second value, 2. 2 is female, add. 3 is others, right? Even nowadays in the component, like some of the researchers, they also respect the secrecy of their respondents. So even sometimes if the respondent is not disclosing their gender, we can simply add another value over here as for I'm not interested in disclosing my gender, or it's called X, X male or anything like that you can add to it. So I will put OK over here. Now, instead of writing male and female, I will go back to the data view and I will simply type 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2. Now, I know that 1 means male and 2 mean female, right? And just to tell you how would it look like when we get the data. So just to give you the idea of the gender. Now see if this window is visible to you. Now you can see in analysis, it is now telling me what is your gender, right? Male 5, female 5 respondents. That is 50% of each. So automatically we added the data in ones and twos in codes, right? But over here, they have converted it into the values which we have put into it. So this is how we can go with this element of coding or entering our data. Similarly, in education, there would be a problem that is related to the program. For example, BS English, BS BBA, BS Computer Sciences, software engineering, and so on. So instead of just putting and writing these values or these names of the programs over here, what we have to do, once again, we will be using the same values. For example, 1 is for BS English, 2 is for BBA, 3 is for say a DPT, 4 is for BS Software Engineering, and so on. So I'm just putting these 4 for a while for your understanding. Now you just have to remember what value have you given to them, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just press OK, go back to the data view and enter those numbers that you had mentioned, right? This is how we do. Okay, for marital status, we have different components like married, unmarried, and even for the students, they also write their marital status complicated, but that is informal. We are not using it. Maybe you are not getting data from the students, so maybe married, married with children, married with without children, divorced, right? These are the different elements which needs to be added into it. And similarly, income, you can just write the numbers, values, or you can use the groupings as we did in previous term. And lastly, the residence. So for residence, we will go same back to the variable view, and in the values, we will just put these codings. For example, Hyderabad 1, University Town 2, Kent 3, Dalazak Road or City Side, Gulbahar 4, and 5. This is how we can do it. This is something that was related to your demographics. Just a 1.5 minute remaining in the closure of this session. Uh, so I'll stop over here and I'll ask you, ma'am, to recreate the session so that we can join. And while you join, if you
Sir,
have any question, then we will first entertain your question and then move on with the remaining analysis of remaining.
sir, thank you, sir. Sir, I guess they only need to join with the same same link.